Hi, this is Kendra from Pencil and Pigment, and today I am doing my Draw With Me video. Now I am going to be drawing a woodpecker. I probably won't be able to finish all of it on camera, but I should be able to get a little bit of a good start. Anyway, I wanted to have a no-buy chat about my first purchase. So I made my first purchase, I would say about 8 or 9 days ago. I just wanted to be sure that I had it in time for my first video on Sunday, January 1st. I haven't opened anything up yet. I will open it up on camera. Yeah, so that felt really weird. Can I just be like real brutally honest for a second? It felt, because I've been so sort of hyper vigilant and making sure I don't accidentally, like, I don't know, buy something for our homeschool or for my husband for her work or something that I would later use as an art supply, like a pen or, you know, anything like that, that to seek it out and then like actually add it to the cart and then actually purchase it, it felt like I was doing something wrong. Like it didn't feel like I was doing something correct. Even though I was like, no, it's okay, we're done now. Like, it's been 14 months, it's okay. This is what you're supposed to be doing. Yeah, it felt really, really strange. So kind of not a fan of that feeling, of thinking that I'm doing something wrong, but acknowledging that it's there regardless because of this, you know, year-long challenge and stuff. It's just been really, really bizarre. So, I spent a little more than I thought I would, and I don't think that's like a surprise to anybody. I just don't pay attention to prices, and that's been evident every time I go to look at like how much I've spent financially on art supplies and stuff. And I was looking for a clever solution. So I don't think I've actually said it in a video, but my favorite sketchbook paper of the year was definitely the Strathmore 500 mixed media paper that's in a soft bound, and it's made by Mohawk. And so one evening, really late into the night, because that's when apparently all my best ideas hit me, I had a thought, and I mean no offense by this, but I thought, you know, maybe I can kind of cut the middleman out and see if I can purchase that paper directly from Mohawk. And because they sell like papers by the sheets, by the case, in like 500s and 5,000s. So that was my initial thought. And I looked on their webpage, and they do have a Strathmore like selection. They have a paper called Strathmore. Actually, they have a bunch of papers called Strathmore, and I couldn't tell because it didn't have, most of them didn't say cotton content, and most of them didn't say they don't say the weight of the paper, so it's really hard to compare. So I phoned up Mohawk, and I got one of the sales gentlemen for one of the regions, and I started telling him what I was trying to do, and initially he didn't know what I was talking about. And so he looked up sort of the Strathmore sketchbook and was like, oh, okay, but he didn't have any swatches that matched that, so he couldn't tell me because the names are different. It doesn't, when you go on the Strathmore section of Mohawk, I'll link it if you want to look at it, it's really fascinating, to try and figure out which paper to buy. They all have additional names on top of that. So I was trying to figure out which one would be that paper, and could I purchase it just loose leaf in a box and then bind it, excuse me, and do whatever I'm going to do with art paper on my own terms. So if you don't spend the money, you end up spending the time. And at this point, I kind of dedicated myself to not spending the money, and so I don't mind spending the time to bind sketchbooks and try and figure out different binding techniques that I enjoy and do that. Well, it was not successful. He said he couldn't help me, so he gave me the number of the parent company that owns Strathmore, which is the Packin company, and I phoned them, but because December, they were all gone for Christmas holiday already, which that's nice. I appreciate companies that give their employees a decent vacation for the holidays, so I can't fault them for that. And that's kind of the nature of the beast of doing purchasing and things around Christmas time, and I'm always going to kind of have a little bit of issues of that nature when it comes to doing my Surface order, because it's going to be in December every year. And so I couldn't talk to them, but I needed to place an order because I needed to get everything in time so I can move on with the other stuff that matters, and that's just creating art. So I just went ahead and I went to Blick and I purchased a roll, the 500 series roll paper from them. They had kind of raised their shipping limit minimum, so that ended up costing more than I would like it to have costed. But that paper is going to last me at least 2 years. It's going to be the main bulk of my paper for 2024. And I'm going to be using it for other projects. I will link that specific roll of paper if you are curious. It's a massive beast. I'm going to be cutting, and the fun thing about it is the freedom that comes with choosing my own size of paper for everything. So for additional on the side sketchbooks and projects and things, it's all up to me. My imagination is the limit to what my sketchbooks are going to look like, and what shape they're going to be, and what size the paper is going to be. And that's kind of a really exciting thing. So while, you know, it's not going to be the most fun to have to flatten everything and cut everything and make sure everything's precise, I'm just going to have to spend that time because I don't want to spend the money on buying 100% cotton paper that's watercolor, because it's just too pricey at the quantity I would like to have. I would like to do some watercolor demos next year that are a bit more lengthy, and having 100% cotton paper I think will really help in showing how the watercolor and everything's supposed to behave on cotton paper. So that that was my adventure. I haven't given up though. I'm going to wait. And I'll call them in the summer. Again, I'll call Mohawk again and see, because the guy said his swatch book hadn't been updated in a long time, so he couldn't really help me. I'll see if that's been ironed out. I'll talk to the parent company, and maybe I can figure out what exact paper is bound in the Strathmore 500. And if I figure that out, I will absolutely pass that on to you, and then we can have that knowledge together and maybe save a little bit of money together. Because that's what this is turning into. It's turning into a low buy for forever. So this is actually technically my last no buy video, because come January 1st, Sunday, that's coming up, that's going to be my first low buy video. And I'm going to start a different playlist for that, because that's such a different journey and it's going to look so different. And because I'm only doing 2 purchases a year, it's kind of going to be a slower burn. It's going to be a slower, more methodical thing, but it's going to be added to, you know, for as long as I'm on YouTube, I'm going to have a couple videos a year talking about that, what's changed, what hasn't changed, has my art changed, have my needs changed, how I feel about certain things, experiences, if I come across any other ways to try and save money about some of this stuff. You know, I think it only helps us as artists and creators to sort of share the knowledge. Like, it's impossible for any one artist to know everything about everything, and I think while it's fun to be an expert about something, it's just impossible. So I think it's great if we share, and I share with you what I'm doing and what's going on and how I feel about it. So I purchased from, can we see the bottom? Okay. I purchased from Amazon, JetPens, and Blick. And I didn't purchase a ton of things But it did add up, and I will show you Sunday. It's kind of wild, but I think the way to do this for myself is to have a year that's a little bit heavier on surfaces and lighter on mediums, and then reverse that as I keep going. Then the next year will be really light on surfaces. I'm hoping 2024 I only need to purchase a couple planners, and that's it for surfaces. And then I can get some of the more expensive mediums in one-offs. I don't really need any sets, but it would be really nice to buy a couple more. Well, I'd like to buy some new pastel pencils, and some of those can be rather pricey. So I need to make sure that I have the space to do that within my budget. So if I can purchase paper that lasts for a couple years, that will save me a ton of money and time to be able to do all this stuff. And I think that's going to be how I move forward. There's going to be sort of an ebb and flow with what I buy more of for the 2 purchases a year. And I hope this helps. I hope you have a wonderful day. I am so proud of your journey, of you following along. Thank you for holding me accountable. Thank you for asking really thoughtful and amazing questions. I appreciate you so much. It has been so good to have you here joining along with me and chatting about it, commiserating about it, and just generally being supportive to me. I appreciate you and I love you. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye.